What's going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Vikings are about to tap into free agency, and a couple things up in the air. Kirk Cousins not back, and Danielle Hunter potentially not back. Maybe want him, maybe Reisner, who really knows? But the Vikings will be diving on into free agency, and they're going to have a little bit of cash to spend, and of course, go for the pin. And there are reports that the Vikings have done their diligence on some of the high-profile defensive free agents, and as well they should be, because if they weren't, Kwesi wouldn't be doing his job. No big deal. But the Vikings have an estimated $40.9 million in cap space via spot rack, but of course that can always be fudged because and that $40.9 million cap space includes Kirk Cousins and his dead cap hit coming from his void years home to roost, as well as Danielle Hunter at $14.9. Davenport is $6 million and change here as well. And of course, the Vikings could definitely find some more cap space, cutting Harrison Smith, extending Justin Jefferson, restructuring or trading Brian O'Neill. Lots of options for the Vikings to find more money for the books, but right meow via spot rack around $40.9 million. So they're going to have some cash to throw around. Now, this is our perfect free agent class. Now, does that mean that they should sign every single one of them? No. It would be kind of cool, though. But in terms of balancing wish list, balancing positional need, because you draft BPA, or you try to at most, but you sign free agents for need because you're able to supplement specifically for what you're looking for, and you're able to set your price and bring in the specific player. Draft just add talent to your team. Drafting for need keeps you drafting for need, but I mean these ones. There's some big ticket items, and there's some spicy ones, and also I think there's guys that can specifically come in and play a role. So up at the top, Sam Darnold. I understand why they would be interested, because Darnold he is going to be 27 in June, I believe. Yeah, 27 in June. Former number 3 overall pick out of USC. Now, he was wrecked with the Jets. It was a combination of a bad offense, mainly played under Adam Gase, as well as no protection, limited weapons, and it just wasn't great. But remember, he's still young. He still is relatively young. He had a bit of a sojourn, went to Carolina, back up with the Niners last year. But a good arm, accurate, mobile, but just got ruined by the Jets. And yeah, Kwesi loves the mama, I can save him sort of projects, and Darnold would be one where Darnold, Jaron Hall are roughly the same age. It's kind of fun, man. But Nick Mullins is 28, 29. But I think adding Darnold to that mix, I think the Vikings should go 4 deep at quarterback because you saw what happened in the league last year. Plus, with the keeping the 16-man practice squads. Just makes sense. And at $4 million can't really go wrong. Running back A.J. Dillon. So Ty Chandler is going to be RB1, and I'm really pumped up about him getting more work, and I think that he will be the lightning to A.J. Dillon's thunder, or he would be the dash to A.J. Dillon's smash. And that's specifically what we're looking for, contrasting styles at running back. And A.J. Dillon, I mean, he is a bowling ball. The pride of Boston College. He is 25, estimated at $3.5 million per season. But with the Packers, like he and Aaron Jones made a nice 1-2 combination. Because remember, towards the end of Aaron Rodgers' tenure with the Packers, rightfully so, were more of a running team, especially in 2022. But for Dillon, career 24, 28 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns, 4.1 yards per carry. He is a short yardage, goal line, punch you in the face, man gap, inside zone type runner. Also, a pretty decent receiver as well. 86 catches for 763 and 2 over 4 seasons. He's an adequate pass blocker as well, and he would bring that punch in the face. And I know that Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry are out there. They're big time names, but if we can get by paying Dillon 30% of what the other guys are going for, and basically you're swapping out Alexander Madison, what would have been his $3.5 million salary, for A.J. Dillon. Ain't got no problem with that. Next up, so Paris Campbell, formerly of the Giants. Paris Campbell had a lost season last year, and he was a healthy scratch towards the end of the season. Just it was a mess with the Giants, and I don't necessarily blame Paris Campbell, but he's only 26. Seems like he's been in the league forever. but he was a second-round pick in 2019 by the Colts out of Ohio State. Last year, only 20 catches, 104 yards receiving on 27 targets. But Campbell can be dynamic underneath, primarily working from the slot. I think that he would be a nice complementary veteran option to work with Addison and Justin Jefferson, and also the price certainly is right. I mean, he might not even get 3.5. He may have to sign like a true low 1-year prove-it deal. Next up, so one of my favorites, Michael Onwenu. I've loved Onwenu forever. So coming out of Michigan, plus size, 340 pounds if he is announced getting after it. He's 26 years young, estimate at $13.6 million. So yeah, it's going to cost you a lot. And also Reisner. So we didn't list Reisner, but Reisner is probably going to be around the $8-9 million range. I think that he'll get Ezra Cleveland adjacent type money. And Onwenu, this is probably low. Like Onwenu is probably going to get 15, 16, 17 million per season, but he's moved all around the offensive line for the Patriots. His best position is right guard. Last time he was a full-time right guard was in 2022, 83.1 PFF pass blocking rate, nailed it. Has size, has power, can really get after it, and will be a cornerstone of the Vikings offensive line moving forward. Next up, so this is contingent on cutting Garrett Bradbury. Now the Vikings can cut Garrett Bradbury, and his $4.65 million base salary is not guaranteed until it's partially guaranteed on the third day of the new league year coming on up. But the Vikings can move on, no muss, no fuss, and I would love Lloyd Cushenberry coming on in. So a couple things here. Skol SU continues, as well as he spent a number of years in Denver with Vikings current offensive line coach Chris Cooper. So it's sort of like bringing Reisner aboard last year. But last season for Cushenberry, a 76.4 PFF pass blocking grade, 14 pressures, 1 sack. That's like one game for Bradbury. Has leadership, has stability, and also is young. And Bradbury is going to be 29 over this offseason, so the Vikings could freshen up there. $8.2 million per season, I think would actually be a steal for Cushenberry, and also the fact that you'd be taking around $4.65 million off the books for Bradbury. So it's a nice little swap that I would do there. Defensively, so Christian Wilkins, of course, is the apple of the eye right now, and Justin Madubuike's deal is probably going to push Christian Wilkins up a lot higher than the spot rack estimated $20.2 million per season. But Wilkins, a little bit older when he came to the league, also coming off his 5th-year option year, is 28. But team leader, great against the run, also had a career-high 61 pressures, career-high 9 sacks and 10 tackles for loss last year for the Dolphins. And Dolphins in a bit of a sticky cap situation. That's why Wilkins wasn't tagged and hits the open market. But, of course, he and his experience with Flores, he was Flores' first draft pick. And I think that it would be great. He would transform the Vikings defensive line in a number of spots. He could play some pass rushing nose, could play 3-tech, 4-tech, 5-tech, and you'll be good to go there. Also, so we listed DJ Wonnum, where you could convince me to take a second tier edge rusher in free agency, whether it's Bryce Huff or Jonathan Grenard. But DJ Wonnum's low key been good. Especially since the transition to the 3-4. But he has 23 career sacks in 4 seasons as mainly a part-time rotational player. But he had 8 sacks last year after stepping in for Davenport, who just didn't work out. He also had 8 sacks in 2021 when he had to step in when Danielle Hunter went down with that torn pec. So overall, he's been productive, and I think that he is a very solid stand-up outside linebacker. I think that he's done well, specifically with the Flores scheme. Also did okay in the Donishell defense in 2022. Also, I think that he will be relatively cheap, $4, $5, $6 million per season, and at age 26, can still continue to grow and show in his prime here. Also, so this is a bit of the mama I can change him type player. So Devin White, SpotRack estimates his value at 10.7. I think that's high. I think that's very, very high. I think that Devin White got benched last year. I think that he is going to have to do some career rehab. I think that he may be extremely cheap, but he's only 26. Another Skol SU product. He was second team All-Pro in 2020, the year that the Bucs won the Super Bowl. He also had 9 sacks. Plus, you could have made a decent case that maybe he should have been Super Bowl MVP. He had 12 tackles. He had a pass broken up in a big-time spot, also an interception. So Devin White was really good that year. But for whatever reason, he's fallen out of favor with that defense and Todd Bowles. But Devin White is a pass rusher. He's got a great nose for going downhill against the run. I think that he would be a solid complement to Ivan Pace Jr. Maybe White freelances a little bit too much, but I think that Flores could utilize his positives and limit his negatives. And I think that, again, 10.7, not really interested in that, but I think that his price is going to be a lot lower. And then lastly, of course, Sean Murphy-Bunting is a guy that we talked about a lot. Loved him out of Central Michigan. Wanted him last offseason when he was a free agent going from the Buccaneers, signed with the Tennessee Titans. It wasn't great last year, but Tennessee was a mess. He's only 26. Spot Rack estimates him at $6.7 million per year, but a 91.9 quarterback rating when thrown out, 5 passes broken up, 2 picks last year. Length on the outside. He's 6 foot, $195, and I think that he will be an economical addition to the Vikings cornerback room. So that's a look at our perfect ideal free agent class. Again, not signing everyone on this list, but in terms of balancing out specifically for what the Vikings need, as well as going for some big time players too. If they only came away with Onwenu and Wilkins, I would call that a win. And also, we'll see what happens with Daniil and Kirk. Anyways, that's it. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts. Let us know your perfect free agent class in the comments below. You guys know what to do. Skol, production value.